To the chief musician, to Jeduthun, a psalm of David. Truly my soul waits for God. From him comes my salvation. He only is my rock and my salvation. He is my defence. I shall not be greatly moved. How long will you attack a man? You shall be slain, all of you, like a leaning wall and a tottering fence. They only consult to cast him down from his high position. They delight in lies. They bless with their mouth, but they curse inwardly. Selah. My soul waits silently for God alone, for my expectation is from him. He only is my rock and my salvation. He is my defence. I shall not be moved. In God is my salvation and my glory, the rock of my strength, and my refuge is in God. Trust in him at all times, you people. Pour out your heart before him. God is a refuge for us. Selah. Surely men of low degree are a vapour. Men of high degree are a lie. If they are weighed on the scales, they are altogether lighter than vapour. Do not trust in oppression, nor vainly hope in robbery. If riches increase, do not set your heart on them. God has spoken once. Twice I have heard this, that power belongs to God. Also to you, O Lord, belongs mercy, for you render to each one according to his work. My name's Arthur, and I invite you to join me as we share together Psalm 62. David's life can be partitioned into three phases. There was the growing up phase, when he was a shepherd, caring for the sheep. This is when he got to know God, and this is where he learned to depend upon God. Then there was the stage where he was being elevated, but he did not have the top position. He was a servant to King Saul, and he was very faithful. In this stage he went out to fight the battles of the Lord under the direction of Saul. But he fought with great wisdom, and the Lord blessed his endeavours. And finally, in the third stage, he was king. He had the responsibility of protecting the children of Israel. But at each stage he was beset by enemies who pretended to be friends. And at each stage he responded to these personal attacks by trusting God, calling upon his God. At any particular point in time, a country can only have one top leader, and that top leader will have many people who are his servants, and many more people who are his subjects. And David experienced all of these three phases. We'll begin as subjects. And what David is saying here is that when, as subjects, we come upon difficulties, we need to look to God for the solution of those problems. My soul silently waits for God. From him comes my salvation. He only is my rock and my salvation. He is my defence. I shall not be greatly moved. David's security in this stage when he was a subject was in God. He didn't rely on his brothers or his family. They gave him a hard time. He didn't take the law into his own hands, and he had no right to call upon anybody else. But he could call upon God. And notice the word silently. My soul silently waits for God. He was looking to God. This was a secret between him and God. He wasn't boasting about his relationship in God. He had troubles when the bear came, when the lion came, when his brothers harassed him. But this is the stage where he got to know God. And of course, Jesus had a similar experience. One day he will be King of Kings and Lord of Lords. But first he must be subject to his Father. In his public ministry, he was engaged in his Father's business. He was there as a servant. And before that, He was living as a subject, not having privileges. For the first 30 years of his life, he lived just as a citizen of Israel, with no particular or obvious status. But when a person is righteous, then they come under attack from those who are proud. David refers to these people. How long will you attack a man? You shall be slain, all of you, like a leaning wall and a tottering fence. They only consult to cast him down from his high position. They delight in lies. They bless with their mouth, but they curse inwardly. Selah. These are men of ambition. Among the subjects, there are people who want to be in positions of power. When there are servants, there are people who want to be further up the hierarchy. And, of course, those who are at the top are at pains to make sure that they stay there. So we have the political position plainly stated. They delight in lies. They bless with their mouth. They make all these fantastic promises. But in their heart, they curse. They're interested in their own position, not in their subjects. So, my soul, wait silently for God. For my expectation is from him. He only is my rock and my salvation. He is my defence. I shall not be moved. In God is my salvation and my glory. The rock of my strength and my refuge is in God. We must wait silently, patiently for God, taking hold of the promises that he has made as our expectation for the future, our hope for the future. But it is God who brings to pass. It is not our own effort. And it is God who promises to those who love him that they shall dwell with him and sit at his table in the Father's house. So God is my salvation and my glory. We don't need to promote ourselves. We simply trust in God and wait on him. But as we wait on him, we are busy in his service, living a life that is pleasing to him. So David says, trust in him at all times, you people. Pour out your heart before him. God is a refuge for us. Selah. Trust him. Trust him all the time, in every situation. Trust that God knows what he's doing. We can be confident that obeying him is the right course of action, for he has given us guidance as to how we should behave. And when we trust him, we will obey him. And if we are in trouble, as it says in another place, call upon me in the day of trouble, and I will answer you. Pour out your heart before him. God is a refuge for us. It's a place of safety, not in our own physical strength or circumstances. But in the world we have opposition. Surely men of low degree are a vapour. They are here and they are gone. But men of high degree are a lie. That is, they are in fact no better. They pretend to have power and status. Neither their position, their possessions, or their property can save them in the day of trouble. There is no favouritism before God. And he goes on to say that God will render to each one according to his work, and that rendering will be according to the opportunities that we are given. If they are weighed in the scales, they are altogether lighter than vapour. It's lighter than the air around it. We need to understand that whatever we might think of ourselves in self-importance, we are as nothing. So do not trust in oppression, nor vainly hope in robbery. If riches increase, do not set your heart on them, for our security is in God. It's not by stealing from others. A man's life doesn't consist of the things that he possesses. God has spoken once. Twice I have heard this, that power belongs to God. For you render to each one according to his work. There's nothing sure in this world. We see a rich man, we see a powerful man, but God can take it all away in a moment. And he will render to each one according to his work. My soul, wait silently for God alone. God alone.